welcome to the first episode of the
Boiling Point. Boiling Point, that's the name.
Podcast. This is the second recording. So
yeah, the first we had Irish breakfast, but
we made ourselves some Irish breakfast tea.
There's new tea every episode, but we just had Mountain Dew and Diet Coke this time because
we cooked up some Irish breakfast tea. We sat down. We recorded like probably 3 hours. Like 2.5 hours of just ranting about all this different stuff. It was going really well. We're like, oh, this podcast is going to come out so sick. And then just realized, I seen something come up on the computer. And then I realized, oh, wait, it all corrupted. We've lost 2.5 hours. We need to explain all this again. Basically, I'm Butcher. I have 2 channels. It's the Butcher, the Halal Butcher. This is Sprinkles.
Yeah, I'm just helping out this guy here. His channel's just smaller than mine, helping him gain a bit of traction.
I'm just a little creator. Yeah. I'm trying to catch up, and basically Sprinkles, he was like, oh, you know what, we'll make a podcast together to get your subscribers up to my level.
Yeah, because I'm not making any more videos because it takes so long.
Yeah.
And all I got on my last Greens video was like 100.
How long did it take you to make that?
Hours.
Yeah, I know.
Plus, I did so much research.
Yeah. No, it literally takes me hours to edit like a proper video if I want to edit it properly.
Plus, that video, I included sources anytime I made a statement because I'm actually discussing real people who are currently in politics. So I put all the source on that. It was so perfect, yet people go, oh my god, you're like a Labour shill. And then I'm just... they delete their comments. Yeah. It's not fun when they do that.
So it's like, yeah. Basically, it takes us so long to... ever since I got back into... I got back into making videos like a few months ago. But I've noticed that it takes me like hours. It takes me like literal weeks just to get a video out.
If anybody wants to edit for us, just for free.
For free, don't got any money, don't got any free time.
It's communism, you know?
Yeah, literally, yeah. You're all going to become slave stores. That's what you guys signed up for when you started listening to leftist YouTube. Yeah. But anyway, basically we decided, let's do a podcast because the amount of time I spent making videos and everything, it's going to take probably every month or so I'll post a video. I'm not going to completely stop. But we thought, hey, let's make a podcast. Each, probably...
mind you, his channel actually started out as our podcast, The Butcher and the Blade.
Oh, there's so much lore. We should actually get into this. Basically, my channel was started 2 years ago, back when I was a social democrat. And
I was also a social democrat.
Yeah. But it was early days. I loved Labour. I loved the Labour Party.
Labour! But Labour still is the best party out there.
They've had the best prime ministers.
Yes, the Greens are terrible. They're not actually leftists. Their leader is a conservative from Tasmania. Max Chandler Mather. Watch my Greens video on that right now. Yeah. Max Chandler Mather is a bastard.
That's true. Everyone, if you guys are interested in stuff we talk about, I've made so many videos. Sprinkles here.
I've made one. No, I've made 2 good ones. I deleted old videos. So
Did you?
Yes, I've got 3.
I had to do that September. I got rid of all my videos. There's 20 videos left on my channel. But basically,
you made so many videos back in the day. After I stopped doing The Butcher and the Blade, you just at night, you just did all the editing and.
Bro, basically, we had a podcast 2 years ago called The Butcher and the Blade. I was the Butcher, obviously, and Sprinkles was called Blade. And basically, we had 15 episodes or something.
Yeah.
And for a few months.
But I started working at KFC and whatnot.
Yeah. The capitalist system took them.
Yeah, it did. I'm never working at fast food thing again.
But basically, we had this podcast and we just chatted nonsense for a few hours about and at the time I wasn't radical at all. But
we were significantly younger.
Yeah. And we were just we didn't know what we were on about, but we thought we knew.
Do you still have those recordings?
I do. I have them all. I still have the videos.
And we're never gonna release them.
It's so funny. If anyone ever gets those videos, you can just see over the few weeks that I go from being oh yeah, Labour gonna get in power, and then by the end of it, I'm just socialism is the greatest system. Mao Zedong did nothing wrong. There's episode 14, I think it was. We had this lad Cleaver. Cleaver is in a knife.
Oh, I remember Cleaver. Yeah,
he was on an episode, and basically I just start ranting, and it was my first time ever ranting about socialism. I knew nothing about Marxism. I had watched a few Second Thought videos, and I thought I was a fucking expert. I thought I'd just unlock the secrets to
esoteric knowledge.
But I just discovered Victoria's Secret. I thought I was so smart. But I just started ranting about socialism and how it's the best system in the world, and how capitalism is so bad and it's caused all these problems. And I was going like, but I was still a social democrat because I didn't know anything about anything. So I was just like, Norway is so cool, guys. But also, Mao Zedong did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Because Gleaver was like, what about like China? What about Soviet Union? And I was just coping so hard. I was just like, no, the famine, no. But like, I had no clue what I was on about.
Yeah.
So I ended up just like, that was just like 2 hours of me just ranting about something I had no clue.
Oh yeah, that was so good how we got different guests on all the time. I actually kind of miss it.
Yeah. No, surely we get some people.
Like you just get a bunch of like 14-year-olds. Like most of us don't even know anything about politics.
No,
like,
none of them even cared about politics. They were just like
they just wanted to join the podcast.
They just thought it was cool that we had a podcast. I had no clue what it was about, but everyone just joined it, and everyone was just chatting shit about like complete nonsense.
Yeah, but also we all dunked on the Liberals, and they're like, so the Liberals are bad, right? Yes. Oh.
We were going to school and just like chat so much shit about how much we hated the Liberal Party for like a whole year.
Yeah.
That everyone just like, knew us as the guys that hated the Liberal Party.
And then
for whatever reason.
Yeah, no. I remember the first class we had together. It was in science, and when we were supposed to do a speech, we just brought it into the Liberals about climate change.
How we became friends actually was we were in science class. I'm fucking shit at science.
Yeah, I instinctively said to him, because I bring this up with everybody, "You Labour or Liberal?" I said to him.
Yeah. And I remember we both realised that we were like Labour, and we just started yapping about like how much we loved the Labour Party. And what our teacher was like, shh, stop talking, shh. And we're just like fed up of us talking the whole time.
Yeah, she didn't stop us.
But yeah, she didn't stop us. She was a new teacher at the time, so she had no control of the class.
Yeah.
But we just, every single, like, I remember for the first term or two, every single, like speech we'd have to give or, like, presentation we'd have to give, we'd link whatever nonsense the science class is about to how the Liberal Party was just so shit and how everything's their fault. And I showed you Friendly Geordies, I remember, on the bus.
Yeah, I didn't know about him.
Yeah, because that's why I got into Labour, like year 8.
I got into Labour because I was Catholic. Because, like, in Australia, it's like TF2 red versus blue, right?
Yeah.
The Catholics created the trade unions, we created the Labour Party. And the Protestants, the British fellas, they created the Liberal Party as a direct opposition to Labour because Labour had too many seats, too much power.
Because originally there was 2 parties that formed together to create the Liberal Party.
Yeah, and now they're doing another coalition with the Nationals.
During 2021, during lockdown.
I just saw a Friendly Geordies video and it's like opium.
No, I just learnt about what was happening to Friendly Geordies. And I was like, always a fan of like comedy and everything. And I knew about this bloke, Isaac Butterfield.
Oh, no, everybody used to watch him, but you grew out of him.
But like,
after you're like
15? I never got massively into him, but I did. I found whatever video he made during lockdown. I was just so bored, and I found whatever video he made about the Friendly Geordies situation and how Friendly Geordies was being attacked by this politician, John Barilaro, and being shut down, and like the police raided his like parents' house or whatever and arrested them, like his producer and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
All because he was talking shit about these like people. And then I figured out that all these politicians that were really corrupt and bad and doing all this sort of evil shit. And I was already like an environmentalist. Loved like,
of course.
Like I loved all this that sort of stuff. Like I was.
Also, this stream is taking such a different direction.
Yeah, I know. But like I was so obsessed with all that sort of like stuff already. And then when I found that, like I was just like, oh yeah, I'm all on board. I was like all on board. I got really obsessed with this whole idea of like the government is corrupt and that they're like.
Well, they were.
Yeah, they are.
The Liberals are the most corrupt government in Australia.
But I got so obsessed and I realized that wait, there's something more to this than just let's care about the environment and start going green and I was like, oh well, if everyone does their part and just does the bare minimum, then we can save the environment if we just recycle. And then I realized that the whole government, like at the time, was just so corrupt and causing all these issues with koalas and everything. And
Gladys Berejiklian and Jiggly
and the one guy that like called them out and called them koala killers and was calling them out on their corruption.
Well, it's Friendly Geordies, and he is such a pivotal part to our Australian democracy because he brought up all this corruption in John Barilaro, Gladys Berejiklian. He's the one who got him deposed, her deposed. He's done so much for the media and free press in Australia. It's unfathomable. So, he should be given an award, and then I'm not going to say that.
Yeah. But literally, I found his videos, and I learned so much about politics in the next year or so because he brought me into that sort of idea. But anyway, basically, we both, at that time, I had become Labour, obviously, because I had learnt about all this sort of stuff, and I was like, oh, the Liberal Party is so corrupt, and that pushed me to like a sort of political consciousness that I didn't have before. So when we started talking, like we both realised that we were like leftists, like Labour's like supporters or whatever. And they were like left wing or left leaning or whatever it was, and like that's basically how we became mates. But a few months into us becoming mates, we realized that we should I think I suggested it.
Yeah, you suggested it. Like, we should do a podcast.
I was like, oh yeah, we should like totally just record all the like rants and stuff that we have, because everyone got so upset with us during class.
Yeah, no, they did. They were actually genuinely annoyed whenever.
But yeah, basically, I was like, oh yeah, we should like totally record the stuff that we're saying to each other, because we're just ranting all day, every day about all these.
Yeah,
like,
that's literally all we did. Yeah, at school.
Like we should like probably like record this. We could actually like do something with it, and I wanted to be like just like Friendly Geordies or whatever, like a political commentator.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
and like he's just got such an amazing life, and I think that's what hooks people in.
Yeah.
Also, this man, we were saying this on the first recording, but we're gonna. Third time's the charm, firebomb Friendly Geordie's house.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things he said.
This guy spent so many days on a Gough Whitlam that he released his own.
I did so much research into Gough Whitlam, found all this like videos to like, you know, edit together to make like a whole video on Gough Whitlam, and literally the week I was about to start editing this, Friendly Geordies released a video on Gough Whitlam saying everything that I wanted to say in such a better and more concise way than I ever would have.
Like in his Friendly Geordies voice, like the issue with it.
So like I was like, oh shit, and then basically I said on the first recording of this episode that I was going to firebomb him. Third time's a charm because of that. But yeah,
so you've made an enemy out of us, Jordan.
It's all your fault.
Jordan Shanks, friendliest Jordan.
Yeah, even though he's part of the reason. He's like the only reason we're friends.
Yeah,
if you think
basically.
If you think about it, without Friendly Geordies, I wouldn't have been involved in politics at all. If I wasn't involved in politics at all.
Thank God that's still recording.
Yeah. That's why I just went up to check if the thing was recorded. I have PTSD now because of that. But like, if I hadn't gotten into like any sort of political consciousness, and then you were like, oh, Labour or Liberal, I've been like, I don't know, I don't care.
Well, I mean, we still sat next to each other, so it's likely we'd be friends, but just less political, which is the backbone. But
yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, that all loops back to the idea of, we used to have a podcast called The Butcher and the Blade, which lasted like 3 months or something. But I really wanted to get into political commentary, and basically I was like, oh, we can start a podcast and just talk about all these like political issues that we have. And we thought we knew everything, but
yeah, of course,
fucking idiots, just so
chatting. But now we know everything.
Yeah, now we know everything, absolutely everything.
Yeah. To be fair, we do know a lot more. So, like, exponentially increased.
We're much more educated on what we chat shit about now.
Yeah, and I think kids, after 14-year-olds, complete spastics. But for some reason, every single 14-year-old boy, when they turn 15, it's just like, oh, hey, how you doing? Just a normal guy.
If you think about all the guys we knew that when we were like 14 or whatever, they were all fuckwits, and within like a year or two, they're all normal. Like,
yeah, I guess that's just developmental stages. We should get on to the topics now. US election.
No, but we need to finish this.
Oh, alright.
We used to have a podcast.
You've said this 3 times.
Yes, I know, but I gotta get through it. We used to have a podcast like 2 years ago, The Butcher and the Blade. Didn't last very long, but that's what started my channel, It's the Butcher, because after Sprinkles here decided to become a capitalist shill and work for the establishment.
I was quite a bit of a shill. I worked so much more than everybody else. They just so many smoked weed in the freezer room, not only contaminating the food, but I had to work front by myself. I had to put the tenders, the nuggets, and the fries in the fryer. I had to make the bloody burgers. 3 jobs, and I had to clean. It's degeneracy.
So that radicalized you, I guess, your experience. But yeah,
it's just terrible.
But after that, I just started making videos about like everything, and at that time, I had become more and more like left, getting pushed more and more to the left. So
I remember after the holidays, you came back like, I'm a communist, and I'm like, okay, you're a...
Yeah, I think everyone thought I was like, I'm going a bit mental.
Yeah, I thought that.
Everyone thought I was just like, oh, he's having a little obsession, and then he'll move on. Like what? 2 years later, still a communist, still same ideas, I guess.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, basically, I started making videos because of that, because I was like, oh, I just start making little videos on different stuff I find interesting, and that's why I have videos now on my channel. I just started getting better and better at what I was doing.
Yeah.
And now I'm making decent sort of videos that are a bit more palatable. But you started making videos on Sprinkles. When was that?
Like a year ago.
Oh wow, actually.
No, not a year, like half a year or something.
Was it the start of this year?
Yeah.
Probably would be, yeah. But yeah, you started making videos earlier this year, and then
so that's almost 3 years we've known each other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah.
But what you call it? You started making videos, February, March or something? And then,
I think it was February actually.
And now you made a few political videos, didn't you? Like Greens and stuff. But
And
then,
like, when will the AI bubble burst? Also, I am so good at predicting the stock market. I remember I was talking to this lad a while ago, like, oh, I predict Nvidia's going to go up. Goes up 10 times. But then I was like, no, I won't spend the $1,000 I had in the bank. No, was it 1,500? Could it become 15,000? I predict that there would be at least a miniature AI bubble burst. And when all the media was hawking over it, like, oh my god, everything's going to collapse, I predicted that this wasn't the actual AI bubble burst, as it was too minor. It was only a single fault in Nvidia's AI thing. Just that one thing made it plummet that much. Imagine how much mass failure it could cause. So I predicted it would go back up. You know how much money I could make?
but you said that on a video, didn't you? You made a prediction.
Oh yeah, I actually put that on my community page just so that I can say, no, so I'm not just saying stuff like, see, I actually predicted every single event in the years. I proved it. I put it on my community page. It's got like 2 likes.
No, check out Sprinkle's channel though. He has like a few videos left. He took down some of them, didn't you?
Yeah, because they suck. Like, you don't realize how terrible.
Yeah, no, and then a few months later, I always realized how like shit I was at making videos. Like only a few months ago. But that's the thing. I have like 20 videos on my channel now. I probably have made like over 100, probably hundreds of videos over like the past 2-3 years, and I've just taken the majority of them down because they're so shit in like hindsight.
And but, also, because I want to induce my algorithmness, every now and then I just put a Mario Kart clip on it, and then I just watch it outperform everything else I've done by like a factor of 10 times, and I just want to end it.
But yeah, you completely stopping making videos now?
Basically. There might be a special, I don't know.
But yeah, basically, you came up to me, what was it, probably like a month ago?
I think it was like 2 weeks ago.
My memory is really bad.
Why don't we do a podcast and we like drink tea and it's called like The Tea?
Yeah. But
it's called The Boiling Point now.
And then we were like, oh, Spill the Tea. We searched up, there's already a podcast called The Tea. There's already a podcast called Spill the Tea.
I think there was like some women's support
I know. It was
podcast that was called The Tea.
It's all the most random sort of podcasts. It's just like concreting podcasts. Have you ever seen them? There's just like all these like random podcasts that are just like women's vaginal health and concreting podcasts. It's like it's two like completely separate issues. But anyway, we couldn't find a name for the podcast that hadn't been used by anyone else.
Yeah.
So we settled on Boiling Point because, you know, as we get a bit like heated and just talk about like all this sort of stuff and we just yap. And then we reach a boiling point, end up saying something that might get us sniped by the CIA someday.
I'm a social democrat, I'm moderate, don't hurt me.
I love the West, I love America, please don't kill me.
Yeah.
I will suck Donald Trump's mushroom penis, please. Just don't.
Also, that he's actually got a tiny mushroom penis. There are legal documents that state that he's got it. You know,
legal documents?
Yeah, well, you know how he raped those 2 women?
Oh, the
Stormy Daniels and his
case,
secretary as well. They elected
Is that actually on a document record?
Yeah, she's had to say it at court, I think. Also, you may know this if you're a Warhammer fan, but you know we lost almost 3 hours of footage.
Yeah.
So
I think this is better than the last one anyway.
We lit some candles to praise the Omnissiah. Another thing they do in Warhammer is that they attach electrodes to their balls and electrocute them. Somehow makes the machine spirit / code run faster.
What are we even talking about?
And we're talking about how we've lit candles and it works now.
Oh yeah. So the recording's still on this time, probably because of the candle.
We'll like save it every hour or so.
Yeah. But anyway, you start making videos.
Yeah.
Because
it's so in our HSC now, so it's like
so much effort to make these videos. I swear to God. But like the amount of like time it takes to edit these videos, I've realized because I started making videos again like 2-3 months ago. I stopped for probably 9 months.
Yeah, I remember when you were doing it. I was like, hey, are you gonna make like more videos again?
But my channel was still growing for whatever reason. But yeah, anyway, like I was like, it's ever since I got back into making videos. I made one on 9/11 and some other stuff. Like I just realized, oh wait, it's so much effort to like make these videos and edit them and like publish them. And there's so much stuff I want to say, but it'll take so long because it takes. I'm going to continue making videos probably every month or so, but like we decided, oh yeah, let's start a podcast.
Yeah, so we can say everything we want to say, and it's basically no editing.
It's so much easier to like publish a podcast. You guys can get all these sort of like our rants.
Like it's more genuinely us.
Yeah, exactly true. It's like it's not just like scripts I've been working on for weeks and all this sort of stuff, but still we're gonna do all the research, get a lot we have all the bullet points and stuff to talk about. So,
we're also going to get guests on.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We're hoping to get some guests in the future, some like
actual political fellas.
Yeah. So we're hoping see how this goes and we'll maybe get see if it goes well, we might be able to get like a proper podcast thing going. But yeah, anyway, like
it could be like Hamish and Andy, and we could do all that stuff where we're like, go to Cambodia. Your next challenge: kill 17. Like, I don't know. Like for the
your next challenge: kill the president.
There's actually several things in that. Like, you know, there's this one Bop It sketch. Like, now pull it. I think it's an Adult Swim one, and like it instructs the child to turn into a gun and it shoots the president.
Oh shit! But yeah, like this would be cool because like I talked about it in the past, like on a live stream or something, like probably a year or two ago, that I was like thinking of just doing like a live stream podcast thing, and everyone's like, oh yeah, every week just talk about a different coup or whatever.
Oh yeah, we're likely going to do this every week, by the way.
Like every week, yeah, or every week or so.
Yeah,
and just
we could get so many hours on that.
Yeah.
We could make our own Bible. Just the sayings of Butcher and Sprinkles.
Oh god, that's what I actually had a dream about that.
What?
That like. Imagine if someone just like took all the stuff that I've said on recording in like 100 years time and just decided to make a religion from it. It would be the most schizophrenic religion possible. Just like all this sort of stuff that I've just said, because I say so much without thinking about what I'm saying, and people don't know what to believe. People think I'm an Islamist. I got called a Jewish supremacist like a week ago. I'm like,
a Jewish supremacist?
Yeah, and then I have like 50 people calling me an anti-Semite like every day. It's like everyone. I'm so schizophrenic in what I'm saying that nobody actually knows what I genuinely believe.
Oh, yeah, and if you go on my channel, only watch the Greens video. Like the only.
Yeah, basically, yeah. You guys should definitely check out Sprinkle's channel though.
Don't watch anything else. the Greens it's thorough in its sources. I may have done it in a single day because I wasn't gonna spend more than a week editing that thing. I would kill myself.
No, but like it will be kind of cool. So. We did record, like we said, we recorded like 2.5 hours.
And it's a lot more political than what we are now. We've just been explaining the previous podcast.
No, I think this is cool though. This is a good intro to sort of like... We just got straight into ranting about capitalism. And then we did
so much, and then we were like, and then Jesus said, and all that stuff.
We were just ranting for so long. We had so much good stuff, but obviously we've lost a lot of it now. But,
so much. And then I got deja vu afterward, and it was such a weird existential feeling I had, because I had the deja vu of those hours of my life all lost. And we get a psychologist in the comments.
We need to bring a psychologist on next episode to help with the trauma. My balls just dropped when I realized that I'm good. My balls just dropped when I realized I hadn't recorded. I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But now we've praised the Omnissiah with the candles.
Now we've set the candles. We rubbed our crystals against our balls.
Yeah.
Nice and sweaty now. This room's like a hot box. There's steamed up the windows.
Are they actually steamed?
They were. I had someone down here and the windows were steamed. And like, why is it so like hot in here? Why are the windows like steamed? I was
okay, so this is separate from the house. This is like a little shed type thing.
But I was like, oh yeah, my balls sweat. It gets really bad. Like, that's disgusting.
That's seriously?
No, like I had the heater on. I was like, I don't know what I was doing down here.
Because that does sound like something that would happen to you.
Yeah, just the amount of ball sweat just steamed up the entire room. They genuinely believed it though. They was like just completely disgusted. We have a few things to talk about today, like the US elections and I asked you guys a few days ago for hot takes on my channel, and I got 5 really good ones.
Yeah, you delivered well.
And we spent like 2 hours ranting about the first one, and we lost it all. So, but
is this gonna go into the night? Do you reckon? Just recording. Us talking.
Maybe. I'm gonna save it before we get into any of the hot takes.
Definitely. Like after we finish this section where we're just introducing ourselves, save it. Every hour we'll save.
We have to deal with the trauma from this. There's no coming back.
Yeah, if this happens, well, we can't return for a week if this recording disappears.
I'm gonna save it and I'm gonna chuck a piss.
How can you be an anti-Muslim man when you look like the two things combined? Look at that hair.
Bro, he looks like a Chinese Muslim.
Yes, he looks like an Uyghur.
And he's literally the most Western puppet possible.
Yes. Like when I think Uyghur, I think that man.
No, the Uyghurs are all in concentration camps.
Oh, and they're feeding them pork.
Force feeding them bacon and
because they would spend that much money to do that.
Yeah, that's called genocide. That's what Hitler did. He brought all the Jews to Poland and he just fed them bacon. And was like, ha, take that one.
Yeah, not like he literally assigned calories for how efficient and productive each one was, and he starved them. Yeah, I was watching this documentary, and the Nazis got so efficient because they want the public to be well fed.
Yeah.
So even German factory workers, they'd start allocating calories for each one, and they had all these calculations, all these machines, just like, okay, calorie this man, leisure time this man, and all of these systems just to... That's why they were so efficient in the war.
That's so dystopian.
That's
That's actually crazy, because a lot of people like talk about like the capitalist world becoming more similar to Nazi Germany, and in a lot of ways it really just takes all like the most dystopian
it's recorded?
We're recording.
Oh, thank God.
The most dystopian, like, just disgusting things that the Nazis did, they just normalize it and find a way to, like, implement it. You need to read the book Pimp by Specs Limner. I'm getting it for Christmas. We need to read it. I'm going to read it on the podcast, actually.
I've got a few books to read, though. I got my neuro science book, because I just want to learn about the brain a lot more. Like, I read this other book called, like, Guide to the Brain, and it was excellent, first off. Good for anybody interested in reading it. It was made by an Italian. And do you know that women have higher pain tolerance? So that they can pump out children easier.
Have you ever been kicked in the balls though?
So whenever your girl complains about a period cramp, just say "Ha." I still don't know your pain.
No, but like it's actually.
I'm 6'2", by the way. Oh, we had that skit in the last recording as well. We were so feminist. We had such a good.
We had like this whole feminist rant, and like at the end of it, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm 6'4", by the way. I'm just.
All right, let's go on about what we're talking.
What were we even talking about? I was talking about maternal right and
patriarchy,
and
how capitalism induces all of this competition. You know, let's go.
That came about because we were talking about the U.S. election.
Okay, let's do that first then.
I was saying how Trump won. And how Joe Rogan...
Kamala. You've got all of these incels online. Let's officially introduce us. The section we're doing now is the US election. It's aftermath. So, Trump won. He's got House and Senate, so he can pass...
And popular vote.
Yeah, and popular vote. So he can pass all his Project 2025 bills as much as possible. Not good for anybody else but white Americans, but, you know...
No, but that's the thing. It's like... we were talking about, like, looking at the election results and everything. A lot of young white men voted for Trump, obviously. Yes. More than any sort of...
I guess because they see this hardship and they think, yeah, this guy says he's going to solve it.
Well, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about how these people like Andrew Tate, for example, they pin themselves as being anti-establishment, just like Trump pins
like the
themselves.
Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. They pin this whole idea of being anti-establishment, and their solution to it is finding a scapegoat, like, you know, how anti-Semites do, where they go, oh, it's the Jews, they're behind everything. Or how the government, pins all these like racist white supremacists against like immigrants, for example, and all these. Instead of fighting the system, people find a scapegoat to blame these issues on.
Yeah.
And a lot of young white men in the recent U.S. election have shown this because they voted for Trump because he pins himself as being an anti-establishment figure. Young people are fed up with the establishment. They realize that the system is corrupt, but they don't know why it's corrupt.
Yeah.
And they're not being educated properly, of course.
And people like Tate go like, don't rebel or destroy the establishment. Just be one of the people in it. You know, get a Bugatti. Also, he's got a stupid accent. He can't tell if he's American or British.
Bro, it's like the worst two accents possible. American and British accents. If I hear them in public, I move myself away from that person. I think.
Plus his balding, he looks terrible. He doesn't shave because he's like, oh, I'm so Sigma. He's just bald.
Yeah, when he grew his hair out in prison.
Yeah.
And he just had the McDonald's airline. No, but like, it's... They pin themselves as being anti-establishment, and instead of fighting the system or talking about why the system's corrupt, because obviously it's just so much easier to just go, nah, women, it's all women's fault. Like, the whole red pill community, that whole community.
They're just incels online.
Yeah.
Like men.
Well, the support base is all incels.
Yes.
And they're using these incels to, like, make money. But all these people, all they talk about is how bad women is, and all they want is attention from women. That's their whole world around.
It's like children trying to get attention from the other gender by making fun of them.
Boys rule, girls rule. I'm Sigma.
Yeah, you said it. 5'9".
Yeah, exactly. They're all like insecure about all these things, and instead of just addressing.
Really, insecurity is the root of so much of this.
Yeah, I know. But like that's how all these like people end up falling for these like conspiracy theories and everything, is because they don't know what the problems are, and they just want to scapegoat someone and go, oh. Like, when they asked Tate on that podcast that I was talking about, like, oh, who's the world's elite? And he never said anything. He just went silent. And everyone's like, oh, this is so crazy. He can't say because they're going to... No, he is the world's elite. He's a part of this world's elite. He is like... all these rich people make money. And, like, when you look at people like Ben Shapiro and all these sort of right-wing conservative figures...
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Facts don't care about your feelings. Here's a fact. They're all funded by the oil lobby, which benefits off, like, completely destroying the environment and the reason they make money off destroying the environment, and then use that money to fund these conservative media to convince you that climate change isn't real, and all these conspiracy theories to stop you from fighting the system.
Stop talking, because that's the first hot take.
Oh yeah. But we loop back in US election. Basically, Trump won because he pins himself as an anti-establishment figure, and Kamala, the reason she lost is because she did an absolutely terrible job at her campaign.
She focused too much on like a very specific demographic, which is just...
She was trying to get the support from white suburban women.
Yeah, no, that's what I was about to say. Yeah. But she didn't go for anybody else. She didn't tie into the fact she was black enough.
No, she went into the black community. She's lost a lot of support from the black community because she went into the black areas and everything, and her campaign was, black people have this misogyny that's inbuilt. And it's like, you're an idiot. These people are gonna vote for you, and you just call them all sexist. And
because... Obama, he tied into the fact he was black, and he got so many people who usually wouldn't vote in the elections to vote for him.
But what he did is he used his position as, he knew, okay, obviously I'm a black man trying to become president. That's already like hard in a country that's inherently so racist. So he played into that and went, look, I'm a progressive figure. He went and all the left supported him. The amount of people that were radicalized now because of him, because they're seeing 8 years of this like person that they thought was such a progressive figure, who really...
he threatened his daughter's boyfriend with a drone strike.
Obama?
Yeah, his daughter's boyfriend.
That's crazy.
How about I drone strike your house?
But that's the thing, like, he pinned himself as being this, like, all the black people came out to vote for him, and what Kamala did wrong is that she completely abandoned her base, and the Democrats have moved so far to the right to try appeasing these, like, Republican conspiracy theories and all that they've abandoned this whole left that are now like, of course you're not going to go out and vote when you see, like, oh yeah, look at what's happening in Gaza. Both parties are supporting this.
Yeah.
Why would I care either way? But Trump is getting people out in the polls because he's seen as this anti-establishment figure, and people that are upset with the system want something different. And the Democrats aren't showing an alternative. And Kamala Harris did a horrible job because she didn't give any sort of policy. If she had gone, you know what, free healthcare. Universal healthcare, that's my position.
That would have got all of the leftists.
Yeah, she would have got such a big push and people that would have came out and voted for her if she had any sort of policy like, I'm gonna end the war in Gaza. Trump is seen as this like anti-war figure. He really isn't, but he's seen as this anti-war figure, and that's why he won the first time against Hillary Clinton, is because he seemed more reasonable when it came to the war, because Hillary Clinton is such like a warmongering like little gremlin that she was like obsessed with all these wars in the Middle East, and he's like, I'm gonna put an end to it. Trump went to the left of Hillary Clinton on that issue and got so many support from people that would be like progressive or whatever, who voted for him because they wanted an end to these wars.
Yeah, well, Trump's presidency is going to be so much different from his previous. Again, he's got control of House and Senate. He can do Project 2025, and it's literally became a technocracy. It's the latter stage of a technocracy. You got Elon Musk, right? Yeah. He's saying, I'm going to shed $2 trillion off the budget, even though the tax cuts will bring them in deficit again. And it isn't just the technocrats financing these political people, controlling the media. They're actually in government now, and they're taking so much control.
Yeah, but it's absolutely insane. But a lot of like the whole thing with Joe Rogan and all that, like Joe Rogan, the amount of people that were like recorded on the like in university campuses that were voting, like all these like young white blokes that were talking about the Joe Rogan episode being an influence for their vote is insane.
Oh yeah, Joe Rogan said that.
Remember that like it was like a few years ago that Joe Rogan was in support of Bernie Sanders, the most left wing of the Democratic Party, the only person with any sort of like.
Also, he's a Jew, so that also debunks the theory that, it's the Jewish people, they're controlling the government, taking the money from the little guy. He's literally... And he doesn't use that at all, him being a Jew. And he actually might have to be more quiet about that, because it isn't good for your politics. If you've got so many white supremacists who are like, the Jews are doing it. No, I'm the most left-wing person in the entire country.
No, but the Nazis had the whole Judeo-Bolshevism theory. And it's so sad to see the rise in anti-Semitism. This is another issue I want to talk about, actually. It's so sad to see the rise in anti-Semitism in the past year because of the whole Israel, Palestinian, the genocide of the Gazans at the moment. People are looking at Israel, and Israel pins themselves as being the leaders of the Jewish world, the leaders of the Jewish people, the same way that ISIS claims to be the leaders of the Muslims.
When you just got the New Yorker Jews, and they're like, we don't really care.
Yeah,
they've got their little fence going around the whole thing.
Look at the Orthodox Jews in New York that are protesting against Palestine. You'll find these Orthodox Jews all around the world that are protesting against Palestine, and
also they always dress really well. In the suits, the rabbis. Yeah.
No, but the majority of people in Israel are atheists. They're atheist Jews. The majority of these people are atheists. They don't believe in God, but they do believe that God promised them the land.
Yeah, definitely, that makes sense.
But
and Netanyahu's only doing this to secure his own power. He needs these constant wars to distract people from the real problems that are facing Israel and Palestine.
Same thing that Bush did. Same thing that all these presidents do. Constant
That's
war
just
is good.
capitalism.
Yeah. And when you focus on, they're the enemy and we're the good guys, everyone's like focusing on, oh, we have to beat the Muslims, or we have to beat these guys.
Yeah.
Instead of like going, oh, wait, why don't I have free healthcare? This is nonsense. Let me, get involved.
Yeah.
But that's what we're seeing at the moment, right? That there's so much rise in anti-Semitism, like there was such a rise in Islamophobia during when ISIS was like cutting people's heads off and everything.
Yeah, and
on
how
video.
Malcolm Turnbull, I've talked to you about this before. He was probably really funny because the whole Liberal Party hated him at some point because like, oh, you're too left on these issues. They were like, all right, let's vote to ban Muslim immigration, and only 20% of the country still opposes such a vote. Only 20%, and he was basically the only reason to stop that. He was the leader of the Liberals at the time. He even did a speech at the UN talking about how multiculturalism can do all these good things. And then they're like, no, Merkin, put that bloody retard Scott Morrison in.
And then you have Pauline Hanson, who's like walking around with Kemba. Oh my god, that video is so funny to watch. But yeah, like the same way you've seen the rise in Islamophobia during the whole war on terror is the same thing you're seeing today. As Israel's pinning themselves as being like the leaders of the Jewish world, everyone goes, oh look, this is what the Jews do. This is what Jewish people are. This is what Judaism is. This is what they're doing. And like that's leading to people, instead of fighting this imperialist system of, oh, and it's America that's supporting Israel, it's America that's backing all this sort of stuff, we've got to destroy the sort of imperialist system that commits all these atrocities and destroy the state of Israel. It's, oh, this is just Judaism. This is Jews. And there's always some sort of scapegoat.
Let's loop back into the US election.
US election anyway. That's why Kamala lost, because she didn't have a single position on either the Israel-Palestinian conflict. She could have just decided to pull out of that, but complete warmonger. And her moving to the right has only alienated people, like left-wing leaning voters that are completely fed up with the Democratic establishment. But Trump, one of his election promises was to end the war in Ukraine.
I can end it in a day.
Yeah, literally, he says he's going to end it in 24 hours of being president. And like, that is a policy that people want to see, because the war is so dumb. Like, Americans are fed up of paying for this war, and they want an end to that. So people obviously are coming out to vote for these issues. When you when you're running a campaign, you make election promises for people to come out and vote for you.
Which Kamala did it.
Yeah, like in Australia, you have to vote. You don't get a choice. So obviously,
unless you just get it literal fine.
But like everyone comes out and votes. But like in America, you have to give people a reason to take a day off work. In this country where so many people are so poor, they need to take a day off work.
Yeah, that's why mail-in voting is so good, because it allows the working class people who usually can't take
the elections.
No, that's just the working class people votes.
No.
Because they usually don't have time to do it.
Too big to rig. Trump won.
Yep.
Take that, Democrat.
Yeah. Plus, I think Biden had an advantage like Georgia, Arizona, because he was an old white man.
That's true.
That just gives him certain superpowers. But Kamala could have used her ethnicity to aid her as well, and like if Ohio.
She obviously got a lot of women to vote for, because they obviously.
But like Swifties, I think that's what we
can
categorize.
Yeah. But like Trump, obviously, he wants to end the whole abortion thing. So a lot of women came out to vote because they want a right to abortion or whatever.
Yeah.
But she didn't that wasn't enough to get her over the line, obviously. And her whole campaign was trying to win over suburban voters and saying, oh, I'm just like Biden. And like sort of like the whole idea of like supporting the war and all this sort of stuff moving more and more to the right. Like, if someone's on the right and they have these ideas anyway, they're going to vote for the Republicans. They have these sort of ideals.
Yeah.
You need to separate yourself from your campaign, like the guy you're going up against, because he's pinning himself as being anti-establishment. Everyone's fed up with the establishment, and everyone sees you as being part of that establishment, which you are. And it's like, she did such a horrible job at her campaign, and now we've ended up with Trump. Like, obviously...
A man who's raped 2 women.
Yeah. But, like, that's the whole thing. Like, we end up Trump with a majority of votes. He has the Senate, he has the House of Representatives. Project 2025 is coming. Hopefully, this will shock the Democratic Party enough to move them towards the left to more progressive policies. Either that, or it's going to lead to a complete revolution. Fingers crossed. But
Mate, I think that America is just so good at suppressing their dissent with the media and whatnot, that revolution is so much less likely in America than other countries.
Oh, 100%.
Because, like, you see all these South American countries, right? Half their population would support a revolution.
Straight
they've they've always been like that. But in the US, the revolutionary base is just so small.
And that's why they're not only able to suppress their own like revolutionaries, but they're also able to suppress revolutions in all other countries around the world, which will lead us into our whole thing about Gough Whitlam.
We've got to talk
because like a year or two ago, like I said, when I suggested doing a podcast, everyone wanted me to do a podcast basically talking about different coups every week of different countries. But But we should probably finish the part about the US election anyway.
Yep.
Kamala did such a horrible job, and that's why we're going to end up with 4 years of Trump.
And a technocracy, and Project 2025, and mass deportations.
Yeah, and just because he's pinned himself as being this anti-establishment figure, which he isn't.
Like, brother, he is the establishment.
Yeah, just like Andrew Tate and all these other rich people, and Ben Shapiro and all these people that are paid by the oil lobby are part of the establishment. He is part of the establishment.
Wait, hang on a sec. Something we've missed in this recording, because the previous one was deleted completely. My glaze on Dick Smith. I love Dick Smith so much. He is pro-Australian. He is pro-worker. He is the little guy's man. He is one of the, if not the only rich guy who's actually a good person, who wants the best for the country. When America buys all of these Australian companies, right, like Redheads, which was a match brand, Dick Smith changed them to Dickheads and created his own. And he sources all of the materials, all of the foods from Australian-owned farms and factories. Stimulates the economy, increases, workforce. Yeah, I love him. We should get him on the pod. He's like 85 though now.
Oh damn, he'd probably be like demented.
No, not 85. Maybe like 70.
Oh, actually, that'd be sweet to get him.
Yeah,
but he's a billionaire, so.
Nah, I think just one, or if not less. But that's only because he stopped trying after he got enough money. He just said, "Oh, this is enough," and then he was the first person to use a single helicopter flight around the world, the first man, and he started going on all these adventures. And another thing he did, he Qantas.
Yep.
He said, why don't we just send a Qantas passenger plane to Antarctica with a bunch of Australians and we sell tickets for it? And he did, and they all sold out. So he just sent several planes to Antarctica, and you can just look out. It's the one, nobody else in the world has access to this. And like thousands of Australians got to see Antarctica because he ordered the Qantas planes to just fly down there and then go back. It's amazing. Yeah, so creative. Yeah. Okay, Glaze has ended.
But yeah, whenever we talk about like, I'm not sure about you, but whenever I'm talking about like US politics and everything, everyone's like, "Oh, why are you always talking about US politics? Focus on your own country," and all this sort of like nonsense. But it's like, when you take a step back, like you realize, oh wait, Australia is completely controlled by America. Their politics completely affects our politics, because the one time that Australia was actually established its independence was under the prime ministership of Gough Whitlam. Now, Gough Whitlam is the greatest prime minister that Australia has ever had, and he was deposed by. We have the system in Australia, basically since we used to be a British colony, of a Governor General who has the power to depose any Australian prime minister. And this power was abused because at the time, John Kerr, the Governor General at the time, he was involved with the CIA and a bunch of CIA front groups.
And the MI6.
Yeah.
And then they said, hey, he wants to have administration to know what we're doing at Pine Gap. He's doing all these reforms. Kick him out. Then he was like, bye, Gough. And even Malcolm Fraser, the Liberal guy who was in at the time, in his book he wrote, "Damn, bro, that was like pretty messed up. America's got too much control." And this is the conservative guy.
I think we need to give people context before we get into
it. Oh, yeah, definitely.
But basically, when John Kerr deposed Gough Whitlam, it caused this big stir in obviously Australian politics, and he was replaced by the conservative leadership of Malcolm Fraser. What made Gough Whitlam so different from all the previous administrations Australia had at that time was he was the first Labor Prime Minister in decades, and we had been controlled by very conservative leadership like Robert Menzies and all that, who banned the Communist Party and all that.
Another thing Robert Menzies did, it's just a scummy move. In World War II, he sold iron to Japan. Who we were at war at.
Yeah.
And like the Japanese, these are the guys who are eating Australians. Yeah. They ate us.
Oh, yeah. Insane. But basically, Gough Whitlam, he did many things, great things.
Let's whip it out.
Free university for one. He set up Medibank, which
later became Medicare under Bob Hawke.
Which was basically free healthcare for all Australians, what used to be free healthcare for all Australians. But unfortunately, conservative governments of the Liberal leadership have stripped that back, so we don't have that.
Like reduced funding for nurses, don't do all this stuff. It's just
disgusting.
Yeah, and GPs deciding to cost money. But that's also because of universities, because these doctors need to pay back so many fees, hundreds of thousands of dollars in fees to these universities, because they've got doctorates and everything.
But if they had free university like they did on
we could just have free GPs.
Yeah.
Again.
And he did all these great stuff for us. He brought in no-fault divorce, so women could divorce their husbands and everything, which is another incredible...
I'm 6'2", by the way.
He had a Racial Discrimination Act, which basically legalised all this sort of racism that still was prevalent in Australian society, which is why we're not so similar to America.
And now you can only be racist to a few groups, so...
Yeah. But yeah, like, Australia is the most multicultural country in the world, and thanks to this Racial Discrimination Act, it was able to happen, because otherwise we'd be like America, where everyone's like so incredibly racist for like whatever reason.
A little tea though, mass immigration is unhealthy for a country, and we need to limit it. We've got a horrendous housing crisis. People aren't having children anymore because of said housing crisis. There are so many issues, like how immigration can be used to suppress dissent, especially with nurses. Because like if nurses go on strike for too long, they'll just be replaced by immigrants. You know, because it's just a peeve. I've got a lot of nurses in my family,
but also at the same time bringing the war to the immigrants, like they're doing in Ireland at the moment, where all these like white supremacist thugs are basically firebombing like immigrant hotels and everything.
But we don't do that here, at least.
Luckily, but like the immigrants aren't the issue necessarily.
It's just the capitalist system behind it.
Yeah, it's like when you
because immigrants are pro-capitalist. They don't care if people stop having children if they can just still get a net positive through mass immigration. They don't care about the Australians. They just care about their own pockets.
Same thing, they don't care about the Irish people who are homeless. They'll house all the Ukrainians and Polish people that come in.
It's not their faults, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's not these people are just as poor as you are, just as like working class as you are, just trying to make it in this system that's so corrupt. And the people pulling the strings like, oh yeah, you need to fight that guy because he's slightly poorer than you, or he's slightly more brown than you, like they did in Ireland with the whole Catholic versus Protestant thing, is they paid Protestant workers slightly more, so that way like the Catholic workers would fight the Protestant workers, because what was happening is they were all joining trade unions, all signing up with the IRA, and fighting the British system.
Soon.
Yeah. But, the issue is... in Australia at the moment is that we have no sort of autonomy from America, because basically Gough Whitlam, one of the other great things he did is pull us out of the Vietnam War. And the Vietnam War, it was a war that Australians were dragged into because of American interest.
Just because of the sanctions. There's not really many other reasons we went into the war, but those US sanctions.
Yeah. And also the Korean War as well, we were dragged into where 1/5 of the Korean population was genocided. And then...
Thank you, whatchamacallit. What's the guy's name? Noam Chomsky? No, that's the other guy. You know,
who, libertarian socialist.
You know, who's the guy who was a U.S. foreign advisor? He called the Korean War. He called all these...
MacArthur.
No. MacArthur's the one who made the retardation targets and said, hey, let's nuke him.
McCarthyism, isn't it?
No, there's this other guy. He's Jewish. He was bullied when he was young in Germany for being a Jew. That's probably why he was such a terrible person.
Kissinger.
Yes, Henry Kissinger. Yeah, terrible person.
You need to watch the GDF video on Henry Kissinger and Israel Pal. It's really good. But anyway, Australia, since Gough Whitlam, has been dragged into the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan because obviously America has such control over Australia, and the last time our Prime Minister pulled us out of a war that America wanted us in, he got deposed. So every single Prime Minister since, that example has been set that, this is what happened. But basically... Australia has no autonomy to decide our own leadership and decide our own foreign policy, because we are controlled by all our prime ministers pretty much ever since, apart from Kevin Rudd, who put in a mining
tax, which the Queensland Labor government, the state Queensland Labor government did under Plibersek.
Tanya Plibersek.
Yes.
Oh wow.
She did that, and the Liberals are taking that away now. Yeah. But my prediction is that Christofouli, he's going to be kicked out the next election easily, and Steve Miles is going to go back in with his nationalised petrol stations, 50-cent fares, free lunches. Yeah. He is genuinely perfect. Yeah, basically,
Gough Whitlam, apart from just removing us from the Vietnam War, he also changed our national anthem to the Advanced Australia Fair, which we have today, as a symbolic gesture of removing us from colonial influence from Britain. Ironically...
Ours was God Save the King.
Yeah, but before that was God Save the King, which is the British national anthem. We got rid of that.
We learned that in primary school.
God Save the King.
Yeah, because we had old teachers running it, like old females, and they're like, okay, here's how you say God Save. And we learned how to say it.
That's crazy.
And,
ironically, the Brits, through MI6 and through the Governor-General, removed Gough Whitlam from power. John Kerr, the person at the time, was in CIA front groups, and America wanted to establish their influence because America has this CIA base in Australia called Pine Gap in the middle of Australia. And firstly, Gough Whitlam was saying that he wanted the Australians to... The thing with Pine Gap, right? No Australian knows what goes on in Pine Gap. It's an American CIA base controlled entirely by Americans. Australians have no clue what's going on inside there.
All we know is that it's used for their missile systems on our half of the planet.
Yeah, which is being used at the moment for the genocide in Gaza.
So if you just remove that, they'll lose all control over that whole half of the world. So it's really
vitally important for the American empire, obviously.
Elite.
Yeah. And what's his name? Gough Whitlam basically said that he was going to figure out what was going on there. Being the leader of Australia, he wanted to know what was happening on Australian soil.
Yes.
That's being used, like, probably for the Vietnam War at the time. And guess what happened? The Americans said no, and when he was like, okay, I'll just shut it down then, he got deposed.
You know what I would have done? I'm a sock dem, I'm a moderate, but I would have got some howitzers in and then artilleried the hell out of that thing.
But yeah, I mean, we would have completely nuked.
What, McCarthy, they just resurrected and it'd be like, new retardation targets.
He got removed, and then when Kevin Rudd put in the mining tax in when he got in power...
Now, I mind you, this is more conspiratorial because there's less evidence for it.
Maybe we shouldn't talk about it.
There are WikiLeaks on it. But Gough Whitlam set in stone. Kevin Rudd, it's more... of course they had influence, but it's less set in stone how they did it.
Yeah.
They had people in government and influence, but...
Basically...
They just did it quieter. They did a quiet coup.
One of the things that radicalized me early on in moving more to the left was seeing all these coups d'etats in Chile, and Burkina Faso, and the Congo, and all these different countries. I've seen all these coups d'etats in Iran, which we'll talk about in a future episode. And looking at all these problems in the world, when you go back to it, it's either the fault of the British or the fault of the Americans. And Australia is a colony of America in that sense, because we are controlled by prime ministers who, if they talk out a line against American interests, they will be removed from power. Which is why when we talk about American politics, it's not, why are you talking about this random country? No, this country is our country, pretty much. We are a mini America in a way.
Plus, I just want to say again, I don't know if I've said this in this recording already, but when we refer to America in a lot of the cases, we're not referring to American citizens, we're referring to the elite. The elite class that uses America as a tool for their,
you said, no scapegoats. Don't blame American people or British people or the Jews. Oh.
It just had to happen when you said it.
Yeah, I know. The Jews or any of these people, like when they...
You just vomit when you just... It's like the dictator. He has to spit whenever he says it.
Oh god. But yeah, like all these scapegoats and everything that are used by this elite to sort of disguise themselves.
Like Kanye West. He is a true American patriot.
Yeah. Kanye West 2028. We didn't get him this time, we'll get him next time.
Yep.
But yeah, like when we talk about American politics, it is very important, obviously, for the entire world, because America has exerted their influence over every country. I just wanted to start with the example of Gough Whitlam for the first episode, because when we talk about different coups and everything, and people go, why are you worried about Iran, or why are you worried about Italy, or whatever country we talk about.
It's happened here.
This is why it's important. As Australians, as a citizen of any country, really, you need to be worried about what country has influence over you, and how to establish your own independence as a nation. And as an Irish person, obviously, this is very important to any sort of political consciousness.
As a proud Sudanese man.
The Sudanese, Jewish... Mexican.
If you don't know, that's what we said on a lot of our other streams, which we've taken down ourselves so we could get away with jokes to say, because they can't see us.
Yeah.
But
luckily, this is much more tame than the
and whatever streams. Stuff we do say, it's either minor and we just take it out.
Yeah. This is why we're not doing this live, because the amount of stuff that we've said already, they were like, oh wait, we're gonna have to take
we've said
out.
like 4 things?
Yeah, 4 or 5 things already in this recording. They were like, oh yeah, probably take that out later. But this is a much more tame sort of environment.
Yeah, it is. Even with that... way more tame. I guess we've got set in stone points. We've got a lot more to talk about, so we just don't go at certain things. Like that was so funny that stream though. It got taken down so quick.
Got taken down for that. It's such a minor thing too, like a minor detail.
Plus, it's joking.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's because we watched the video on stream, another YouTube video.
Oh, true, probably.
Yeah, because they haven't taken us down for our past few streams.
The amount of streams that have been taken down though, or like what do you call it, flagged or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why we started this podcast, basically. Instead of doing streams, instead of just all this sort of stuff, we have a set-in-stone sort of way to talk about all these different things, like the US election, which neither of us would have made a video on, but now you get to hear our sort of take on it.
Yeah.
And
we get to do their hot takes.
Yeah, and the Gough Whitlam thing, like we wouldn't have... Like, I was going to make a video on it, but Friendly Geordies beat me to it.
Yeah, so, and plus, because we're so set in stone, we can get guests on. And everything. We could get you guys on call on Discord or something.
You were talking about this earlier in the first recording.
Yeah.
About getting you guys involved. That's why I asked for you guys' hot takes, which we'll get into. We had a really interesting first hot take. But yeah, like the amount of stuff that like we could get you guys involved into.
Hey, by the way, we talked about that hot take for an hour.
Oh yeah, we went on a rant for like probably an hour and a half about this one hot take. And then the whole thing got lost, but...
Yeah, that was such a shame. That's like the fall of Rome, you know?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, whip out the hot take.
Oh yeah. So a few days ago, I posted on the community section of my channel, asking for your guys' hot takes. I got 5 or 6 good ones that we talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like we want to get you guys involved if we can, as much as possible. So talking about like hot takes or different stuff that you guys can add in that we can talk about would be like pretty cool. And maybe in the future getting you guys on some special episodes or whatever. Which yeah. But the first one that we got, which we had ranted about for probably like 90 minutes or so.
Yes.
Was promoting trans issues above class war in modern leftist discourse is a result of conservative infiltration of leftist groups.
Now, I believe to a certain extent this is true. Ted Kaczynski in his manifesto did talk about how the left
Explain
left
who Ted
skulls.
Kaczynski is first.
He's the Unabomber.
Yeah.
He sounds like Kermit the Frog. He was a victim of MK Ultra to the CIA, and I mean that's just CIA. That's our own fault.
And then committed terrorism.
Yes, in the form of eco, and really, there's a lot of evidence for this fact that the conservatives do infiltrate leftist organizations.
Yeah. Like the Black Panther Party.
Or the oil lobby in all the environmental organizations. There's recorded evidence of them having informants in them. There's a good Guardian article on this. But I wouldn't say, of course, this happens for LGBTQ propaganda, but it's important to not say, look at all these queers, they're the reason we can't push our agenda solidly. I think it's just more right-wing media displaying leftists as all these quote-unquote woke people. So
it's the focus on culture war rather than class war.
Yeah.
Obviously, we do need to combat the issues of queerphobia and racism and all that within the...
Queerphobia.
Yeah, within the left and all that. But, we do need to, at the same time, realise that these little class issues, culture war issues, aren't what the left has been fighting for the past hundreds of years.
Yes.
The whole idea of class war over culture war, what I mean by that is, again, not fighting the whole idea of the scapegoats, like the immigrants or the Jews or whoever it is that's being used as a scapegoat. Obviously, we need to fight those reactionary ideas. But so many people are already radicalized against the establishment. But the establishment is able to use the media and even social media today with the oil lobby funding all this social media campaigns and all that.
Yeah.
But they're able to use the idea of this anti-establishment, and instead of focusing that towards the system of capitalism which has caused all these issues, they use scapegoats. And while we do need to fight the issues caused by this scapegoat, the whole idea of people fighting scapegoats, like the rise in anti-Semitism and misogyny and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, especially for women, because so many people are like, since women got to vote, things have been all terrible.
No. The red pill, yeah.
Yeah, and people think that women don't care anything about their, my body, my choice. But so many of the women I've met are so politically engaged, so much more than a lot of men I know.
Yeah.
They're clueless. And we know a lot of red pillers, as you call them.
Yeah. But
the women.
Men, the reason they voted for Trump at such a large way is because they're being radicalized, because obviously they hate the establishment and obviously they hate the current system, but they're not politically conscious enough to understand that. Instead, they use scapegoats. And they want to go back to simpler times when women were back in the kitchen and all
barefoot.
that. Because that's when things were better, of course.
Yeah.
But there's no sort of understanding of these people like Andrew Tate and everything that are anti-establishment or pin themselves as being anti-establishment.
They just end up being misogynist because they abuse all of these incels online.
Because they are the ones in power.
Women are so mean, and they're like,
Yeah, it's all they care about is getting attention from women. Yet all they talk about is how everything is the fault of women and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And it's mate,
because capitalism does not advocate for the rights of women.
Yeah,
it would rather have them oppressed. And okay, but there are places where capitalism does advocate for women. Like, for example, in the workforce. Like, Rockefeller created schools for women so they could be in the workforce more to stimulate the economy. So there are places where it does.
But that only oppresses women even more, forcing them into work and all this sort of stuff. But, the issue, that people don't get is when they start talking about these scapegoats and everything, like Andrew Tate, when he's, blaming either, this world elite, the secret world elite, when he's part of this system which has caused all these issues. And,
also, his human trafficking charges. I don't know what's with
No, that's the Matrix trying to take him down.
Yeah, I don't know what's with guys chronically on the internet and they love rapists. Trump, rapist. He raped 2 women, his secretary and Stormy Daniels. Andrew Tate, he is a sex trafficker. I don't know what they expect. It's that's gonna be me when I'm older.
No, but that's the thing. It's like, when you have that sort of cult following, you can get away with whatever because everyone just thinks it's the establishment trying to take you down.
Yeah.
This world elite, the secret world elite that he can't talk about for whatever reason.
Yeah, I can't talk about that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just makes him seem so Sigma.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
No, it makes him seem like he's actually speaking the truth because, if he did say it, then,
he'd be murked.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous.
I'm 6'2",
yeah,
by the way. That'll probably be revealed in a future face reveal.
Yeah. Oh,
I think we should do that on, like, a hike, something.
Oh, hike podcast.
Yeah, that'd be so good.
Yeah.
And you can see my dream height is 6'4".
6'4". You're hoping to get 6'4".
Yeah. Well, I mean, people were like, mate, you're not gonna get 6'2". Like, but here I am. I've got like a few years left. Because boys continue growing to like 22 sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So I'm really rooting for that 6'4".
Yeah.
It's such a perfect number. It's like 2 meters, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Or something.
But yeah. Like, the whole thing, we'll loop back to the actual thing, like the actual hot take. I'm not sure if trans issues are a result, but of like conservative infiltration. But I do see that a lot of people on the left are falling into this trap of like pinning themselves as these progressives and overly progressive and fighting all these culture war issues that liberals are fighting, instead of defining themselves as being different from the liberals by, sort of explaining the whole class aspect of everything and explaining why all these sort of issues exist in our world today. They're fighting these as if they're, liberals, because a lot of them used to be liberals, obviously. Like, we all came from that sort of left-leaning, and then you go a bit more to the left, you go a bit more to the left, next thing you're a leftist.
Yeah.
But, when we talked about this hot take earlier, we went into the whole idea of, like...
And then we went off such tangents.
Yeah, I know. So
it literally went for over an hour.
Yeah. So luckily we got through that pretty decently.
Yeah, not too long.
Unless there's anything else you want to add to that.
Nah, just we're feminists.
Yeah. 6'4", by the way.
Yeah.
But definitely, if this the person that said this, definitely if you could give us like more evidence or like sort of information about this, or sort of
It'd be funny if by trans he meant something else completely.
Yeah, trance music.
Yeah.
You just say
Or like trains, he just misspelt it.
Yeah, the trains issues. But we would love more sort of like input and all that. But I don't know what else you'd want to move on to.
All right, let's see.
The bottom there.
Hot takes.
Hodgist. Dengist.
They sound like alien names. Like,
Deng Xiaoping?
The Chinese guy?
Yeah, he took power after Mao Zedong.
Yeah, I know. The one who was significantly less left and more self-serving.
Yeah.
Who's a Hojay's...
Enver Hoxha. So he was the leader of Albania that was quite schizophrenic.
I don't know that guy.
Okay.
Communists shouldn't just tie its identity to long-gone projects.
Oh, that is true. We should talk about
What does
this.
that mean?
So, a lot of communists, obviously, tie their entire identity and the political identity of communism to past socialist projects, like the Soviet Union or the PRC or whatever. That. And instead of focusing on what a socialist, actual existing socialism could look like, in a future revolution, they go, they always be talking about Soviet Union. And while we shouldn't be...
Yeah, like they always look to the Soviet Union and say, this is the pinnacle,
Yeah. And while it is true that we shouldn't avoid obviously we should be upholding these sort of countries and their achievements and their accomplishments, it is true that a future socialist project will probably look nothing like the Soviet Union looked like.
Yeah, because technology has changed so much. Yeah. Everything has changed. Like, when the Soviets tried to try out cybernetics, so basically... a computerized economy, the computers were just not powerful enough whatsoever. Yeah. But now that we have such powerful computers, it will be such a simple processing task. You could run it on a laptop.
Yeah, we're talking about planned economies here. So under capitalism, you have a market economy, but under socialism, there's a planned economy which works a bit differently.
Like, okay, you've got to produce this much grain, you've got to produce this.
And it's not based on all these different companies and corporations trying to one-up each other and infinite growth and all that. Because communism understands...
Warhammer 40k has a lot of that.
They have to understand that obviously we can't have infinite growth in a world with finite resources, which is why communist governments have been the most progressive when it comes to the environmental issues.
Also, with the advent of quantum computing, things are going to change permanently. And the reality of having a computerized economy or planned economy is so easy. It's
like the Soviet Union was able to achieve so much with their planned economy in a time when they had no sort of actual modernized computing system at all. And today we do have that. A planned economy would be a lot easier to manage in a lot of ways.
That's why I think you should just get one province in Ireland or something and just test it out. No, I'm serious. You just get one state or county, as you guys call it, and just test it out. As a
planned economy.
Huh?
A planned economy.
Yes.
It would definitely work a lot better, which is why it will never happen, because then let a revolution occur.
Yeah. Oh, just in one place, just test it out.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's it's... obviously, communists have to uphold these past socialist experiments, though, because when people talk about like communism, first things like 100 million people dead and all this sort of nonsense is the first arguments used against it. So obviously, you have to defend all these past socialist experiments and criticize them as well. Like I'm making a video at the moment criticizing past communist countries for their oppression of religiosity and all of that. But we do need to uphold all these. But at the same time, it's important not to tie ourselves so much to these past social experiments. We're not going to bring back the Soviet Union exactly like it was.
Yeah.
And we're not going to bring back Mao's China.
Oh, no, that's not what I saw in my Hoi 4 game.
Exactly.
Where I took over the world and everybody was...
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, obviously we do need to learn from these past experiments. We need to take what's good, take what's bad, and work in the future. And I think today we are much more well-educated. The masses are much more well-educated
definitely.
than they were at the time. We have the computer system to manage the planned economies a lot better. We have a lot that the early Soviets or the early Chinese revolutionaries did not have, which we need to use to our advantage. And learning from these past social experiments is more important than tying ourselves completely to them and identifying ourselves completely with them.
Yes, but you know more about this than me. What would be the extent of a computerized economy, like cybernetics? Like, would it dictate the prices of everything?
Yeah, basically a planned economy in the
in stores, government-run stores.
Yeah, basically everything would be nationalized and eventually be taken under control of like different sort of Soviets, which are like workers'
another
councils.
thing that also happened in Warhammer 40K, I'm telling
Yeah.
these planned economies, they gave computers too much power over everything, and if that system fails, it's like...
Yeah.
if somebody just goes in, pours a cup of water on the system, it's just all gone.
Yeah. But the way that the planned economy worked in the Soviet Union is very different from how a planned economy will work today. And the market reforms we're seeing in a lot of the quote-unquote socialist countries today, like Vietnam and Cuba, would be, like under current like capitalist elitist system, they have to sort of reform to these market economy ideas. But because they have to work in a world market economy.
Yeah.
But yeah, a planned economy.
Oh no, you're anti-globalist. If you.
But yeah, the future communist experiments will obviously use the examples of these past systems and implement them with the new technology, new advancements that we have. And yeah, it's like all these communists like that have like Soviet flags and Chinese flags and all this sort of stuff. It's great, but it's like at the same time you're tying your complete like ideology to like same way Nazis do, putting up a Nazi flag. And it's like Hitler would have murked all of these like neo-Nazis that exist today. That
just Filipino people.
Yeah, like it's like all these people that are like half brown or whatever, and they're like fully Nazi.
Yeah.
Or all these people that are like they're not fully Aryan, and they just hate that they're not fully Aryan.
Oh, so Aryan is incorrect. It's just
Nordic is the term the Nazis use, not Aryan. But neo-Nazis use the term Aryan because they've just taken...
Even though Aryan refers to like Indo-Europeans or Turkish people.
Iranian. Iran comes from the term Aryan.
Yes.
Like it's such a... It was too inclusive. That's why the Nazis never used the term Aryan.
Yeah.
It was too inclusive. So like all these neo-Nazis, the same way they tie their identity to the Nazi like regime and all of that.
And like the Confederacy?
Yeah, exactly. It's like...
they lost.
Yeah, exactly. When you tie yourself too much to these past sort of systems of governance, you tend to make everyone think, oh wait, this bloke is a bit mental. He just wants to... He's living in the past instead of like looking at...
It's just always Hoi 4 players. They just go, no, I envision this takeover with my...
Yeah, I think that's the
model.
thing. It's like a lot of it is terminally online. A lot of leftists, especially, I notice,
Yeah.
are very terminally online when they could be out active in the community. The reason we
This
have...
is why the Greens are getting seats in Australia, because so many people are terminally online and think, Albanese's done so much bad, but they're supporting a rent freeze. I'm going to vote for them, even though the very study cited by the Greens and Max Chandler Mather talks about its inviolability in such settings, such as Sydney, or for example.
But yeah, like the left definitely, like the leftists definitely need to, like, when you look at like why did they have a revolution in all these Eastern European countries, it was because the communist parties were active in the community. They were actively like engaging in what's called...
That's like the Catholic Church in Southern America and Africa right now.
Yeah, but like you need to be active in your community. You need to be sort of working like with other communists, and I think it's called proxy. Not proxy. Oh wait, my communist lingo is dying out. There's a word starting with P.
Dangest.
Oh yeah, I'm a dengist now. I'm becoming a capitalist reformist. Some shill. CIA mind games. The MK Ultras get into me.
I'm a social democrat, by the way. I'm a moderate.
Praxis. Praxis, that's the term.
What's a praxis?
Engaging in praxis. Praxis is the process of getting organized in your community as a communist. You should be in a communist party. If you are a communist, you should be in a communist party.
Yeah, you shouldn't just be online.
Yeah, you shouldn't be just like online or like making like for a few months I was making videos like as a communist, and I realized pretty early on, luckily, that I should be getting involved, and that's why I joined a communist party.
Yeah, it's very
But
good.
like a lot of people I know that like are very far left and like have all these like great ideas that like are very valuable to our society.
Like, they can talk to like-minded people who are actually in real life and not on such a...
And work on bettering the
Yes.
world instead of just further going down these rabbit holes and everything and just becoming more and more antisocial and becoming like more and more schizophrenic in the eyes of normal people. Like, obviously being politically engaged, especially at our age, is seen as being so like crazy and out there and like ridiculous.
Especially years ago
when you're like online and just like looking at all this sort of stuff and becoming more and more like normal people just think, oh, these guys are weird.
Yes.
But if you're out in the community actually working on making your community a better place, people in that community then say, oh, well, what happened when the floods happened? Oh, it's the communists that helped us. What happened when this happened? Oh, it was always the communists that were there.
Yep.
You can see all these like parties and everything that are organized in, and that's how the Nazis took power too. They organized in these like rural communities, and because there was such
they did have a few socialist aspects.
Yeah. The left, like there was a large leftist like economic movement,
especially in the
within the Nazi party.
Like
they were all killed off in the night of long knives.
Yeah, they did do that.
They played off the whole leftist ideas. When you look at all those German parties at the rise of the Nazis, all of those right-wing parties, or far-right parties, all had names like the People's Party, or the Workers' Party, or the National Socialist Party. They all used leftist ideas because they were popular but instead of the Communist Party, what they failed at, I think, in a lot of ways, is they weren't active in those sort of rural communities, and the Nazis were able to take advantage of that, and these people that already have these reactionary ideas, they were able to play off them and get this support. And that basis of support is what the communists need in order to better people's lives.
Yes.
And if people don't see a communist from day to day, and all they hear is what they're hearing on the media about communists,
like Sky News and Murdoch Media, communists are their arch
enemy.
enemy.
Leftists in general, like when you talk to any like socialist or leftist, everyone just goes, oh, they're crazy, they're radical or whatever. So if you're even like slightly to the left of a social democrat, or are a social democrat and you call yourself a socialist, and you get like all these labels that communists put on you, and that is something that you have to sort of that we have to sort of destigmatize, and the only way to do that is through praxis, which also will help the entire world in general.
I don't even think I'm really a social democrat, as you know. Like, I believe in the nationalization of several industries and a lot of other more socialist stuff. But again,
look, you should read some of those books that I have.
If you're the CIA listening, I'm a moderate. I'm a social democrat.
I'm actually a right winger. This is just all ironic. I love Trump.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm actually incredibly racist.
Yeah. Well, the second we turn off the recording, I'm just gonna say a bunch of slurs and
I'm just gonna drop.
Just go back to beating up my wife and all of that. But no, practice is very important. I think what is it? Educate, agitate, organize. The first thing communists should do is educate themselves on the Marxist philosophy, and then agitate as well. Obviously agitate.
Get a rush on their balls.
Yes, exactly. And then, organizing is.
And it's incredibly painful the rest of that hike because they were just itchy and you scratched them, but you're walking.
Did you rub your chakras? Your crystals?
Yeah, no, but it's in like right on the balls because it was itchy. But then I didn't realize, and I didn't have any Vaseline for this 3-day overnight hike, and I was in such pain constantly.
Every morning I wake up and I rub my crystals.
Yeah.
To align my chakras, I rub my crystals against my balls, and it gets all the sweat on the crystal, and I sniff it, and then my chakras align, and then
similar. Like my chakras were unaligned, and I had such a bad rash. Like usually I don't get rashes when I'm hiking because you don't do that. It's just walking basically.
Yeah.
But I scratched that. It was sweaty. It was hot, and for a whole
day,
it
was definitely off.
It was so painful for a day, and I needed to go up to the medical tent. I was like, "Do you have Vaseline?"
Yeah, bro. That's probably because the stars are actually in the wrong sort of order that day.
I'm a Gemini.
Yeah.
And
my
horoscope said...
That's a Taurus.
Yeah, my horoscope said you're going to get a horrendous rash on your balls
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's mental, yeah.
Yeah, that's what my star sign told me.
I'm glad 7 News now tells me all the stuff about my star sign.
They do that?
Yeah, you don't know that?
No.
Every few minutes they'll pop up a star sign thing.
But I like how those are false ones. They do their things too general. My app, it tells me super specific things, and it's always right.
Your left eye will be itchy around 1 o'clock today.
You will be infertile.
I don't know how people believe in that shit.
New age religions.
Oh no, it's crazy.
No, but
that's another way. People have been they're fed up with
indoctrinated.
They're looking for some sort of way to rationalize everything in their head because they realize the world sucks. So they're looking for something to turn to, and these New World religions are part of that.
Yeah, like you could blame capitalism for my terrible rash and itchiness. It was a chafe really because I scratched it for like a while, and then I realized after being walking, oh, that stinks. And then the next day it was just pain. But at least the third day when I woke up and there was nothing there, I was like, praise Allah. That I was in so much relief, man, and I could really do the rest of my hike.
Yeah. No, Hitler didn't take power because of, the boom and bust cycles of capitalism causing the Great Depression or the subjugation of the communist movement. He came to power because the chakra was unaligned and the stars were in the wrong direction. That's my worldview.
Absolutely, definitely, because von Papen, he kicked out the other Socialist Workers Union guy, who was actually the Chancellor at the time, and then he said with Hindenburg, see, now the communists won't get it, and Hitler will never get it. And then Hitler took advantage of that, and he played him, and they got it.
I think nobody knows what we're on about at this point.
No, they just don't know the history. But we got this from chakras, crystals,
So CIA, if you're listening to this, or...
they're just killing themselves right now.
So please, we're normal people. We care about crystals and chakras, and definitely don't murk us. This is all ironic.
I never got better people to murk. We know people that.
Yeah.
But just degenerates.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
I'm very tired, so before we end this,
we've done 5 hours.
There's probably 5-6 hours of just straight recording that we lost the majority of it. So, thank you guys all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this first episode. And definitely give us more input. Yeah. We want more of your hot takes. We want more of your input in this podcast. Let us know what you would like to see us get through.
There wasn't as much tea this episode because we did the first recording. Then after it, we were just really done.
We stuck to the Mountain Dew and everything. But definitely, the next one will be much more well organized. We'll learn from the mistakes and. Hopefully
more crystals, actually electrodes to our balls, so the machine spirit runs better.
Yeah, just more rubbing crystals. Rub it in my arse crack next time, and it won't pause the recording on us. But anyway, that's enough. I think. I'll have to edit this whole thing.
Thanks everybody.
Bye. Bye. Bye.